Today I want to talk to you about a tool that I've created and regularly use with the clients that I work with called a 4-part DBT meditation. DBT stands for Dialectical Behavioral Therapy. If you're interested in hearing more about it, please watch my YouTube video that describes this method. But just know that the primary purpose of using a DBT method is to optimize your emotional regulation. Prior to the COVID-19 outbreak, I would work closely with clients to develop personalized DBT programs with them so that they would have the tools they needed to regulate their emotions when under stressful situations. When COVID started and I started doing more virtual sessions, I was actually doing more sessions sitting at my desk. And as I looked at the overall charting of the DBT program, what I began to realize was that there were 4 key components of DBT that actually worked better if it was combined into one tool. The 4 components are mindfulness meditation, self-compassion, self-affirmation, and wise gut. So part 1 is mindfulness meditation. There will be a YouTube video and podcast coming out shortly that will describe my professional opinions about the purpose and misconceptions about meditation. But for the purpose for today, it is about taking 60 seconds to find your breath. You can do this by either feeling the physical movement of the breath, counting your breath, or doing a visualization of your breath. You can do this on your own, or you can do this with the assistance of an app that will give you a voice or a sound to listen to. You can also practice this by doing a pure mindfulness practice, which is really just about tuning into the 5 senses of what you hear, feel, taste, smell, see in that moment. So take 60 seconds to find stillness. Part 2 is about self-compassion. Cognitive behavioral therapists usually recommend that we try to talk to ourselves like a good parent would talk to a child. DBT asks us to speak to ourselves as a good parent would talk to an unwell child. So there's extra sweetness, extra patience, extra compassion. So I implement this like a fill in the blank. What was so hard for me in the last day was when blank happened, and that made me feel blank. This helps us to speak compassionately to ourselves, recognizing the struggles we're having and identifying the associated emotions. The third part is about self-affirmation, and this is closely related to another DBT component called mastery, but it's based on the idea that we should regularly notice our goodness. If we don't notice our goodness, we won't feel our goodness. If we don't feel our goodness, we won't show our goodness. And if we don't show our goodness, then others won't recognize our goodness. So the fill in the blank statement is this. But what went really well in the last day was when blank happened. And that reminded me that I am a blank person. The 4th and final part of the DBT meditation that I recommend to clients is called the wise gut. Do you know that the nerve endings around our stomach are only second in complexity to our brain? So that old saying that I've got a gut feeling about something is actually true. However, especially if there's a lot of noise in our head or chaos around us or reactivity, we will override what our gut is trying to tell us, or we'll ignore it or dismiss it, when in actual fact, it is where our healthy self lives. And this is the wise gut messages with our healthy self trying to guide us, trying to tell us something, trying to rescue us without any reactivity or impulsivity or compulsivity. So at the end of our meditation, after we have found stillness, after we've replaced shame with compassion, after we've noticed our goodness, we should ask ourselves, what do I need today? In fact, Oprah, at the end of her meditations, has said that this is what she asks herself. So it's important for us to identify what we would benefit from and what we need to do for ourselves in a very specific and concrete way that is going to build on all of that self-compassion and self-affirmation and ultimately put us in the driver's seat of our lives. So we find stillness. We ask ourselves what was hard in the last day and how it made us feel. We notice what went well and what it was about us that made it go well. So we're forced to describe ourselves in a positive light. And finally, we identify what it is that we need to do for ourselves for the rest of the day. Aren't you worth taking 2 to 3 minutes out of your day every day to connect with yourself and find your goodness and find compassion and find out what it is that you need to set intentions for your day or for the next day? If you are, you will understand the benefits, not only to self-worth and self-esteem, but also this will add to your resilience. So the next unfortunate thing that happens, because every day, whether we like it or not, big or small, things will happen that we didn't want, we didn't like, and we didn't expect. So why don't we add to our resilience? So when one of those things happens, we're not starting from a one down position. We're starting from a stronger position, a more hopeful position, a more confident position that we can tackle the left curveballs that life throws us. Thanks for listening.